I'm Ofentse Mwase, one of the DOPs for Collision, the Netflix film that's now streaming from the 16th of June. And yeah, I'm a cinematographer based in South Africa and I love making movies. So the interesting thing about Collision is that it has multiple storylines, and the fact that it does, it means that each and every single one has to be treated differently in the sense of lighting as well as composition. So I think that's one of the biggest things that guided us. So in each and every scene we would know that, yeah, okay, now we are dealing with the story of for instance Brasso, or now we're dealing with Johan's family. All those scenes had different cinematic approaches to them, mainly for the fact that they are different worlds. I think one takes place in Hillbrow, and then the other one you can say it takes place in maybe Sentin, like a more posh environment. So I feel we did a really good job in filming each and every single one of them in its differences, because Hillbrow is more gritty, it's more grindy, you know, it's very like with your blues. We play with a lot of blues there as well, and then we play with like mixing it with warm lighting. I think that was something that really worked for our world there. And then the more warmer tones you get when we're dealing with Adze and his girl. I love exposing for like dark skin, you know, and the dark skin works perfectly when you use like warm lighting, and I feel it really worked for those scenes perfectly. As always, cinematographers have a different style. Like each and every single cinematographer out there has their style that they like. And then now the thing that I liked about this film is the person who brought it all together for it to be seamless between Tiane's cinematography and my cinematography is definitely the director. Fabian has a very interesting style of filming a story, and I really enjoyed doing it with him, because I think that's the style that he wanted to do more on this film. Like it's like very static shots, and then you focus mostly on the characters. So I think that's the number one thing that helped myself and Tiani match our looks, because the biggest thing that we were challenged with on the film, I would say, is the lighting. The number one thing is we wanted to make it look very interesting. We didn't want it to look more like TV-esque in a sense, you know. We just wanted it to look very cinematic and very filmic, so that when people watch this film they feel that they're actually watching like a feature film, you know. It's something that is well thought out and well calculated and well composed and stuff like that. So that's what made our work become so seamless in the film. So I feel our work came together beautifully and it made an amazing film. I think in the film, one of my favorite scenes, it definitely has to be, I would say, the meeting before the riot. That's one of my most definite favorite scenes in the film. I feel like the performances on those scenes were really, really nice. And the way I lit it, it was so simple how I lit it, but on screen it comes out as this cinematic moment in the film. I had like a 2K just backlighting them, and then I set up literally, I think about 2 troops. There was one troop above Gideon and the dead, and then there's another troop as well at the back behind the guys. Literally that whole scene is done with 3 lights. The fact that you can do a scene like that with 3 lights and then make it look so good and so nicely lit is, I think it goes back to the fact that I used the Sony Venice to shoot the film. Sony Venice is an incredible camera that deals well with low light, and as well it gives you all the latitude so that when you get to post, the grading can be seamless as well. It goes smoothly and it's perfect. So the fact that I could light this scene with just those 3 lights and it came out looking so beautiful is just magic to me. So I feel that's one of my favorite scenes. And then I think my other favorite scene that I mentioned earlier, the one with Adze and his girl, that scene was really, really awesome for me, because I could play, like I've always been a person who wants to play with like dark skin tones as well as just, you know, black people's skin tones. They're so beautiful to light, and I learned this from a cinematographer I look up to, Bradford Young. He uses a lot of warm lighting when it comes to lighting black skin, and it works perfectly. Like I think dark skin needs warm lighting because it just brings out the melanin, man. You know, the melanin comes out and looks so gorgeous. And the fact that you can play around with lighting in that sense. Most of the time when I was lighting like light-skinned people, even on the film, I used a lot of bounce, because, you know, the skin bounces light so much easier. But when it comes to darker skin, you need more softening, you need more warmer light to actually make it come out so beautiful as it does in this film. And yeah, that's the techniques that I used. I think the most challenging scene was definitely the final scene of the film. Yo, that was quite hectic. Very, very intense scene. We literally had to do it on one night. That's the crazy part about it. And that scene was, for me, it was probably one of the most challenging because we were rushing against time. It was a time of crew, a time of day as well. The crux of those scenes, we shot them like at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, and it was freezing. It was just such a horrible day because of the weather as well. And then there was a lot of pressure. I feel like that scene, I wished that we could have maybe shot it over a few more days, but obviously that wasn't a possibility. I remember it was this big setup in the city where we're shooting in a crossway, Fox Street in town. I had to put like a big soft light on the top of the roof. It took my gaffer, Tami Kosa, from Black Material Lighting. It took them probably like an hour or so just to get it up there, to make sure it's rigged up properly and to make sure that it's lighting the scene the way that I needed. It was dark as well. That street was dark that time. I actually needed to put in a few street lamps to actually help out with some of the scenes that we had, because we went into the problem that we all are familiar with, load shedding. So the city was load shedded. It was pitch black. The only thing that could light our scene was actually our lights. Yeah, which in turn, it was a good thing if you think about it, because in the film there's a transformer that blows up and then it takes out the lights in the city. So in a sense, I guess God was blessing us by giving us load shedding. As weird as that sounds, that's what worked for us. I put up my lights and then I've put up a few ones as well just to help us with the scene. And then most of the character stuff, I lit them with like Pavo tubes. Like Pavo tubes do such an amazing job because you can literally have people man them either handheld or you can place them in very difficult spots. So the SFX team also did such an amazing job because all the smoke created all that intense feeling on that scene, as well as all the broken glasses everywhere. The cars, how they got messed up after the crash and stuff like that. Those things were really just beautiful for me and they worked out very well. And then I treated the scene very handheld, which is one of my favorite styles to do. But obviously it was very difficult to shoot handheld on this film because of the Sony Venice. I think it's like 20 kgs with all the setup and stuff like that. So you can imagine lugging 20 kgs will be quite hectic. It was one of the challenges that I had on the film. But to be honest, towards the end of it, as we were going, I got used to it and I could actually film the scenes handheld and just run around and be crazy and stuff like that. That was a beautiful thing for me. I really enjoyed that, and I feel the way we shot it, it made sense for the film and it came out beautifully. From a cinematography standpoint, I think the film is a masterpiece because we did such an amazing job. Both me, Tiani, and Benz was the camera B operator. Like, we did such an amazing job in just making sure that we filmed the whole film with beautiful lighting, making sure that the composition is good and pretty and all that stuff. I'm very happy with how it came out. I feel for me as a cinematographer, it's a great step. It's like my freshman year in a sense. So I'm new to this. It's not that I didn't have experience with storytelling. I've been doing storytelling for a long time. I started my career pretty much in 2011, and at that time I worked on a TV series with the same DOP who shot Jerusalem, that epic film from 2008 or 2006. I learned so much from him from that time where we did that series, and each and every single thing that I learned from him, from being his gaffer on that TV series, taught me a lot, shaped the way that I tell stories and also the way that I light my scenes. And then I've gone on to work on other different productions in TV as well as online stuff and all that stuff. So I've been learning so much in storytelling for a very long time. And I also consume a lot of content where I watch other people's works and other DPs, like people from around the world and stuff. So I get to learn a lot from what they do and decisions that they make in terms of like their composition as well as their lighting. This was pretty much a playground for me to also come in and show what I can do or show my talent in making and creating all these things. And I feel it came right through because a lot of people that saw the film have only positive things to say, especially about the cinematography. And as the story as a whole, I feel the editors did a great job in piecing everything together, because concept like this is very difficult. It's very complicated because because you are weaving together 6 stories. You weave them all together to actually come in and collide in the end. It's a very difficult thing to do, especially in the editing process. The editor did an incredible job in piecing everything together. His name is Stephanie. He made sure that, you know, everything connects, and by the end of the film, everything pretty much makes sense to the viewer and onto how all these people's lives came and collided together. This being my first feature film, and the fact that it was a Netflix film, like, for me, it's a dream come true. So this came in and it was perfect for me, because when I got the script, it's a thriller, it's a crime thriller, and it's gonna have a little bit of action here and there. So from there, to be honest, I was hooked. And the first thing that came to my mind was obviously the lighting. How was I gonna light the scenes that I'm gonna do? I'm gonna try to do a lot of like contrast lighting, a very dark toned, very character driven type of lighting. And it's exactly what we did on the film, you know. The fact that I came in and did that on this project, and it's a film that's on Netflix now, being seen in 190 countries around the world, is just incredible for me. The fact that all these countries have access to it just by maybe 2 clicks on their phones or on their computers, on their Netflix profiles. It's just incredible for me, and it's the most beautiful thing, and I'm super proud of this project. And I want to just say big ups to Netflix for allowing Africans to tell their stories as well. Yeah, I do know the director is French, but the story is written by us, you know. It's our story. We are telling our own story. So that's the main big thing for me, and I'm super proud to be part of this project. Collision is a really great film, and I advise anyone to stream it right now. It's playing on Netflix. It's a really interesting story that needs you to concentrate. So I'll tell you right now, if you're gonna watch Collision, please guys, focus, because you need to keep up with everything that's going on there. So if you like if you like look away for a second, you might miss like a very important structure of the story. So make sure that you check out Collision. Really awesome movie, brilliant cast, brilliant team that made it, brilliant writers. Big ups to Fabian, big ups to Sipo, and all the people, all the writers of the film, and all the people that worked on it. I just want to say big ups to everyone, man. We did an incredible job, and I feel that everybody in South Africa and the world deserves to watch Collision. So check it out right now on Netflix.